Saint Alexios, the man of God, was from the city of Rome. He was the child of very rich parents, but chose to hate his wealth in favour of poverty. Absolute poverty. His fasting was perfect, and he deprived his mouth of food and did not lower himself to become a slave of his belly. Saint Alexios kept a vigilant watch over his body and abstained from marriage. For virginity and holiness were like a desirable law in his pure body. His parents were from the city of Rome, and they were wealthy and known for their family and lineage. But they had no children. As they became wealthier, so also did they become sadder, because they had no heir, and did not know for whom they were acquiring this wealth. So his parents prayed to the Lord for a child, like Abraham did, and after many prayers and vows the Lord answered, and they had a son named Alexios. He was beloved by God. In school, he cultivated humility of soul. Quietly devoting himself to study, many children tried to weaken his resolve to pursue study. He did not allow himself to be led astray. His parents did not understand that he was an instrument of God. They began to worry that he might be simple and unsuited to dealing with this world. In secret, they, therefore, tried to make him practical and astute. His father instructed the servants to make fun of him to toughen him up. But with his usual humility, he rebuked them and reproached them and turned away from them with his modest and serious demeanour. His mother gathered together beautiful and bejewelled serving girls to wait upon him. The boy did not dismiss them openly from his presence, but, with lowered gaze, allowed himself to be served by them, and then, in a serious note, sent them away, and so was left alone. His mother then asked the servants if he had spoken to them, or laughed with them. They said that he had not laughed, and they dared not even look at him because he was so serious. He behaved like this for a long time. After some years, his parents decided to find him a bride, as was customary, and they did. And at the wedding, the whole town were invited. When the bride was about to enter in a procession, the saint conceived a sudden resolution to persuade one of the ushers to accompany him to the harbour. With some resistance at first, the usher then agreed to do so. They took 2 horses and made for the harbour. Nobody else with them. He told the usher to look after his horse for him while he went for a walk, after which they would return to the wedding. The usher had no idea of what he was planning and pleaded with him to go back to the wedding. Alexios walked away and started to pray. You who bestow gifts on us, open for me the door on which I am knocking, and grant me what my heart desires. Whilst praying, a vessel appeared before him bound for Syria. He boarded the ship and was blown by a strong wind to Seleucia in Syria with the oversight of God. He left Seleucia and went across country begging until he came to the Parthian city of Edessa, where he lived in poverty. He stayed in the church there, and when evening came, he stood at the door of the church with outstretched hands, begging for alms from those who enter the church. Alexios would only beg until he had enough for basic food portions. If by chance he had more money than this, he gave it to others. In this sense, many tried and tested the man of God, but he continued to live near the poor. And when night fell, and all his neighbours were asleep, he would rise and put his hands against a wall or column in the form of a cross and prayer. And he prayed with those who were first to arrive at the church and stayed there until morning. This was his daily routine. Alexios kept details about his previous life and status completely hidden. He did not even tell those his name so that nobody searching for him by name would find him. The usher waited for him by the harbour, trying to find where the young man had gone. Upon learning of his departure, he told Alexios' parents, who were obviously in sadness and grief. With their wealth and power, they had all the harbours and places searched for the saint. A servant of his parents, who was also a believer, was sent to look for Alexios through all the near towns and cities, and he came to Edessa, where Alexios was begging. He went to the bishop of the city, who didn't believe the story due to the enormity of it, and the servant left to search other countries. Many more servants went looking for Alexios, and so many of them came to Edessa and entered into the very church where he was begging, but they did not recognize him. It is likely that he even received alms from them. After some time had passed, an upright paramonarius of dignified appearance came out one night to see if the hour of office had come, and found the humble man praying with arms crossed while everyone was asleep. He saw this not just once or twice, but often in long nights. One night he said to him and inquired of him, "Where are you from and what are you doing?" The Blessed One answered, "Why are you asking me these things? Ask those who are in front of you, and you will learn who I am and where I am from, for I am one of them." The paramonarius had no intention of dismissing Puzzle. He became quite excited and swore not to leave or go away until he had learned the truth about him. Until one day the man of God agreed to reveal the truth to him, who was made to swear that he would tell no one as long as he lived. He then told him everything, and that this Christian, who came looking for him in the city, was someone of his household, and that it was him, Alexios, he was looking for. From then on, the paramonarius, though practiced in doing good works, adopted a harsh way of life and taxed his limbs more than before until his appearance bore witness to this harsh regime. He thought, if an upper-class youth brought up in luxurious circumstances is able to support this way of life, what should we poor wretches not do in order to be redeemed? When it became known that Alexios was a holy man, he became frightened of the praise of men, departed Edessa, boarded a boat and travelled to Laodicea. According to God's providence, the boat was carried off course and sailed all the way to Rome. Considering this to be the hand of God, Alexios decided to go to the house of his father, and there, unknown, continue his life of self-denial. His father did not recognize him, but of charity allowed him to live in his courtyard in a hut. Alexios remained there for 17 years, living only on bread and water. Mistreated by the servants in various ways, he endured everything to the end. When his end approached, he wrote a letter, clenched it in his hand, and then lay down and died. At the same time, there was a revelation in the church of the 12 apostles. In the presence of the emperor and the patriarch, a voice was heard which said, "Seek out the man of God." Shortly after that, it was revealed that this man of God resided at the house of Euphemanius. The emperor, along with the pope and an entire retinue, arrived at the home, and after a lengthy discussion, they learned that the beggar was that man of God. When they entered his hut, they found Alexios dead, but his face shone like the sun. From the letter, his parents learned that he was their son, Alexios, and his bride, who for 34 years had lived without him, learned that he was there. All were overcome with immense grief and pain. Later, they were comforted, seeing how God glorified his chosen one. By touching his body, many of the sick were healed, and from his body flowed a sweet-smelling oil. His body was entombed in a coffin of marble and jasper, and his head is preserved in the church of St. Laurus in Peloponnese. Thanks for watching.